What's up guys, Yasser here. Welcome back to my channel Yasser's Fit Frag. And today I'm going to talk about another fragrance oil manufacturer which is based out of Mumbai. And the name is Perfume Depot. So if you have watched my previous video on another fragrance oil manufacturer which is based out of Bangalore, which is Gazas, this is something similar, but this is based out of Mumbai. And this guy has about 80 to 100 different collections of fragrance oil, which are very close interpretations of designer fragrance or niche category. So you can either call it as clones or close interpretations of the designer fragrance or the niche category, but he does not have any retail store like how Gazas has, because he's more into exporting his fragrance oil to different countries like Mexico, UK and many other countries. So he sells his product in different sizes. So he starts his product with 8 ml pack, which looks like this one. And this costs about 200 rupees. And he also sells in larger quantity, which comes in this kind of a can, where you can order 25 ml, 50 ml or 100 ml. So this is a 100 ml can. So based on your order, he would fill the fragrance oil in this particular can. So 25 ml costs about 450 to 500. And then 50 ml costs about 650 to 700. And then 100 ml costs about 900 to 1000. So the larger quantity you buy, the more profitable that you get, because the price is slightly lesser when you buy larger quantities. But at the same time, he also gives an offer of selling 2 ml samples if you buy 25 ml or above of any fragrance. So you can order 2 ml of other different fragrances in case you want to try how exactly they smell. So you can ask for the list that he has of different products whenever you order any perfume oil of 25 ml or above. And he only charges 30 rupees for that 2 ml sample. So I'm going to show you some of his collections that I have bought and tried. So I would start with the niche collections first, and then I would move on to the designer collections that I have bought from him. And finally, I would show you some of the favorites of his collections according to my perspective. So if you have ever heard of Tom Ford's Black Orchid, this one is the fragrance oil that he makes, which he names as Black Orchid. And this one smells very close to Tom Ford's Black Orchid. The only difference I see is Tom Ford Black Orchid has a slight citrus note on top. This one does not have that. But otherwise, they smell very close to each other. Smells about 80% similar. But the plus point is this lasts even more longer than Tom Ford Black Orchid because it is concentrated perfume oil. So if you like fragrance note which is mixed with Black Orchid, some dark chocolate and some woody notes, this is definitely a good choice. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but there are many people who love Tom Ford Black Orchid, including my cousin brother, who is a huge fan of this. And when I showed him this one, he started buying this one after that because he also has the original Tom Ford's Black Orchid, which is his favorite currently. But he bought this one to use it on a regular basis because Tom Ford Black Orchid is a little expensive. It costs about 8,000 in the retail stores. So if you are a fan of Tom Ford Black Orchid, do try this one. This is very close to that 80% and it lasts very, very long. So coming to the next one is another Tom Ford, which is Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. So I haven't personally tried Tom Ford Tobacco Oud, but this as a scent character is really done well. If you like tobacco and oud in a fragrance, then this is definitely a good choice because the oud and tobacco in this particular fragrance oil is blended really well and it is very, very smooth. Usually tobacco and oud are a little harsh, but this one is done really well. And I highly recommend this if you are oud and tobacco lover. So the next one would be Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. So this is another Tom Ford fragrance, but he names it as Tobacco Vanille. And I don't smell any other fragrance note other than tobacco and vanilla. So if you like tobacco and vanilla in a fragrance, then do try this one. So I would now show some of the designer collections from his stocks. So the first one is Blanc de Mont. He names it as Blanc de Mont, which is a very close interpretation of Mont Blanc Individual. So the only difference I get from these two is this one has a raspberry note, which I like the most, but this one does not have the raspberry note. But otherwise, they are very close to each other. They smell about 80% similar. So the next one is Silver Attitude, which is a close interpretation of David of Silver Shadow Altitude. So he has named it as Silver Altitude, and they smell 75% similar because I did try that one and I know how it smells. This also smells very similar. So I would say about 75% similar to Davidoff Silver Shadow Altitude. So the next one is Eternity Aqua, which is a close interpretation of Calvin Klein Eternity Aqua. So if you like fragrance which is smooth, soft, fresh and aquatic, at the same time not too loud, if you do not want a fragrance to be too loud where people can recognize your fragrance, then this is definitely a good choice because this is very smooth. At the same time, it is fresh and aquatic and it cannot pierce into people's nose. So do try this one if you do not like strong fragrance. This is definitely a good choice. The next one is 1 Million, which is very close to Paco Rabanne 1 Million from the designer collection. So if you are a fan of Paco Rabanne 1 Million, this is definitely a must try because this smells about 80% close to that one. The only difference I see is this has a very prominent iris note which gives that powderiness in the dry down, which I don't see much in the Paco Rabanne 1 Million, but otherwise they are very close. So I would now switch on to some of the favorites of his collection, which are my favorites. And the reason why they are my favorites is because whenever I wore them, I've received compliments from people. So I would start with fresh ones and then move on to the sweet ones from his collections, which are my favorites. So the first one would be Allure Home Sport. So he names it as Allure Sport, which is very close to Chanel Allure Home Sport Eau Extreme. This is another fresh smelling fragrance with some citrus note on top, and I get the sweet lime vibe in the opening, which is very prominent in this one, and it smells really good. So if you like Chanel Allure Home Sport and if you cannot spend so much on a fragrance, this is definitely a must try because this smells about 80% close to Chanel Allure Home Sport. So moving to the next one is Aqua di Gio. So you can see the perfume, the tag of his brand, which I have stuck and has peeled off a little bit. And this smells very close to Giorgio Armani's Aqua di Gio Profumo. So if you like the designer one, Aqua di Gio Profumo, this is very close to that one. So I made perfume spray out of the oil that I bought from him by using ethanol. You can watch my previous video using the above link where I have showed how exactly you can make perfume sprays by adding ethanol into the fragrance oil. So this is what I have done with that because it's easy to apply compared to how you apply oils. And this one is even more stronger and even more long lasting than Aqua di Gio Profumo. They smell about 80% close again. A very good interpretation of Giorgio Armani's Aqua di Gio Profumo. So moving to the sweet ones, the first one would be Agar Blend, which is Davidoff Agar Blend, I believe. I haven't smelled the original Davidoff Agar Blend, but to be honest, this smells really, really fantastic. Because when I wore it for the first time in office, I received compliment on the same day from one of my colleagues, and he really seemed to love this one. He ordered one for himself. He ordered a 50 ml can of Agar Blend because he really loved this one. This is a beautiful mix of agarwood, cardamom and tonka bean. The cardamom is very prominent on this one, which is why people tend to love this. This is very strong, but at the same time, it is very pleasing to the nose when people around you can smell it. So I would highly recommend this one if you are a fan of sweet fragrances with a touch of masculinity, which is because of the agarwood. So moving to the next one is Ultra Male, which I have again prepared perfume out of the oil which I bought. This is another sweet fragrance which is very, very strong, and it is very close to Jean Paul Gaultier Ultra Male. This has a very prominent pear note, which I believe is synthetic based because when you eat pear, it is not that sweet, but the sweetness in this one is very strong on the pear note, but at the same time it smells really great. Some people mistake this for a women's fragrance because of the intensity of the sweetness in this, but as a scent character it definitely smells great. So when I compare these two, it smells about 85% similar. This is slightly synthetic compared to this one. This one is a little more smoother, but coming to the longevity, this lasts even more longer than this one. This itself is known to be a long-lasting one, which lasts about 12 hours plus. And this one easily lasts about 15 to 18 hours when I have tried. And because it is very strong, I added more ethanol to this one. I only used about 8 ml oil. I bought this 8 ml pack for this one. And then I added about 92% ethanol to prepare this fragrance because it is already very strong. So you don't really need 25% oil for this particular fragrance. So coming to the last one from the list, which is another sweet fragrance, but at the same time it is fresh as well, and that is none other than 212 VIP. This smells very close to the designer collections Carolina Herrera's 212 VIP, because I did try that one in one of the retail stores and it definitely smells very close to this, and I have received a lot of compliments from this one. This is again a perfume spray which I have prepared from 25% oil, and I have added 75% ethanol to make it perfume spray so that I can easily wear it. This is one of the fragrance oil from Perfume Depot which I have received the highest compliment, and that is why I have placed it at number 1. So if you like sweet fragrances, I would highly recommend this one, 212 VIP from Perfume Depot. So I would be giving the seller's contact details in my description down below in the video. So if you're interested in buying any of these which I have mentioned, please contact him. I would give his email ID and also his phone number. If you are from India, you can easily contact him using his phone number. And if you are outside of India, you can contact him through his email and he would arrange the delivery for you guys. And as a special offer, you can always ask him for a 2 ml sample whenever you order larger quantity of 25 ml or above. So look at the samples that I've ordered whenever I bought 25 ml or above. So I keep trying different fragrances just to know which one smells good, and then whichever I like, I buy those in larger quantities. So you can do the same. So start with any of these lists which I mentioned, which I highly recommend, some of my favorites. So you can start with those and then you can order 2 ml samples of other fragrances which you want. You can ask for the list that he has and then ask for 2 ml samples whenever you buy 25 ml or above. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time in another video. Cheers.